Our campaign season is underway in Malaysia with less than 2 weeks to go before the country heads to the polls on the 19th of November. The state of Johor is seeing a flurry of activity as coalition strongholds and parties rally for support. Johor holds the highest number of parliamentary seats up for grabs in Peninsular Malaysia this general election. And for more, the CNA's Clara Lee joins us live from Simpang Ringgam in Johor, where Pakatan Harapan Chief Anwar Ibrahim is holding a rally. Clara, how is campaigning by parties in Johor progressing?
Well, here in Johor, we're seeing a slight shower, and that's because the monsoon season upon us, and we're expecting that rain to continue for the next few days. But it's certainly not raining on their parade. Supporters here of Pakatan Harapan have been buzzing with excitement, and that's because the coalition's president and Prime Minister candidate Anwar Ibrahim has just arrived. He arrived to a lot of fanfare. There's a drum performance behind me, as well as a full lion dance troupe as well, who welcomed him before he entered this restaurant where he'll be holding his rally. Now, Anwar has had a full schedule. We've been following him from the majority of the afternoon, and he's been spreading the message of his manifesto, which includes 10 key areas, 3 of which are economic reform, youth empowerment, as well as the elimination of corruption from the government. And he's been so committed to that last clause, in fact, that he's made the promise that if he were to be elected as Prime Minister, he will refuse any salary. Now, let's take a listen to what he has to say as to his reason behind that decision.
And I thought, given the track record, the disillusionment, cynicism against politicians who've been amassing wealth without exception, all previous prime ministers, enriching their families, their in-laws, their children, and I think I have to stop this rot. So the rejection of a salary is to give a message that not all leaders are blatantly corrupt and greedy. Now, as far as the manifesto is concerned, it's of course much watered down from the enthusiasm of the 2018 experience.
Now, Pakatan Harapan's manifesto launch comes at a time when voter apathy is at an all-time high, and political observers say that this could be a refreshing change, especially for young voters, as PH always had an emphasis on multiculturalism as well as refusal to draw up plans based on racial lines. But other analysts have commented that this manifesto is rather broad stroke and generic, and in fact, it might be there's only 2 chapters that are state-specific, which are Sabah and Sarawak, and if they wanted to do better in Johor, they might have considered the inclusion of a Johor component as well.
Clara, of course, Mr. Anwar is in Simpang Ringgam, which is in the Kluang district, which is in Johor State. How important is Johor for the 3 major coalitions? Of course, Mr. Anwar's Pakatan Harapan, we've got Barisan Nasional and Perikatan Nasional. How important is it for the 3 of them?
Well, Johor has 26 parliamentary seats out of a total of 222 across Malaysia. This makes it the most in terms of parliamentary representation when it comes to West Malaysia. Now, Pakatan Harapan, as we go into this GE15, Pakatan Harapan holds the majority at 11 seats, while Barisan Nasional holds 8 seats. Now, analysts say that the 13 seats PH managed to snatch from Johor in GE14 were critical to its overall win in forming the federal government, which was toppled after many years. But analysts say that all of this could boil down to voter turnout in Johor. A higher voter turnout could mean that the odds tip in the favour of Pakatan Harapan, while the converse is true for Barisan Nasional, which, as we saw in the state election, which saw a rather dismal turnout of about 55%, they did clinch a victory earlier that year. And Barisan Nasional this time, they're back in it to win it. They're hoping to claim Johor back as a stronghold. So it will be interesting to see how this battle of votes pans out in Johor.
And thanks for breaking that down for us. Clara Lee speaking to us live from Simpang Ringgam in Johor.
Malaysia's Kelantan state is almost synonymous with the Islamic party PAS, which has ruled it for decades. But economic development continues to be relatively slow, with a chiefly agricultural economy. So are these developments sufficient for voters to endorse PAS to represent them in Parliament again? CNA's Alif Amshar went to find out.
The Malaysian Islamic Party PAS has ruled Kelantan state for the last 32 years. And in this part of the country, many see spiritual wealth as the cornerstone of their lives.
Dari segi material, dari segi pembangunan mereka tidak kisah mana. Tapi dari segi pengisian rohani ini Kelantan di antara yang terbaik kalau di Malaysia ni.
Walaupun kadang mundur, pandangan mata kita mundur, tapi masalah infrastruktur jalan, masalah air sedang diperbaiki.
But others are hoping for more.
Infrastruktur yang ada dekat Kelantan ni masih lagi tertinggal jauh. Dengan kemudahan-kemudahan yang ada dekat Kelantan ni masih lagi ketinggalan zaman. Harapan saya untuk kita minta untuk satu level kan negeri lain yang dah maju.
The state government has promised greater economic growth for the future. For one, several basic infrastructure projects have been greenlit, such as upgrading of the city's airport. Modern hypermarts have also cropped up in recent years, thus creating new jobs. Still, one economist says more can be done in the state.
Facelift, on cleanliness, on a bit of branding and marketing. So back to the policymakers to actually come up with change and with a more open attitude to improve the governance.
Services make up about 70% of the local economy, including thousands of micro-businesses. The Siti Khadijah market in the heart of the city is among the busiest spots. But even its stall owners are reporting slower business compared to pre-COVID times.
Sekarang kita tengah merangkak lah, step by step tu.
Harga makin naik, makin mahal lah. Sikit lah untung tu. Sedikit sahaja orang yang datang membeli dekat pasar Siti Khadijah ni bahagian basah.
They're hoping for more support from the authorities, such as improvements to infrastructure. The state is also facing a brain drain. Many, especially the young, are seeking greener pastures elsewhere, such as in Kuala Lumpur or Putrajaya. Prof. Sadia says one answer to this could lie in its agricultural sector.
Kelantan still maintains a big proportion, a contribution to its GDP coming from agriculture. Modern technology in agro-farm, agro-businesses, and this need to be developed. This need to be seriously developed because the demand is there.
Analysts also say that more can be done to uncover the potential of the tourism sector in Kelantan. After all, it's a cradle of various forms of Malay cultural heritage, including these giant kites called the Wawulans. It could also promote faith tourism, as seen in other areas like Lombok, Indonesia, which is branding itself as a Muslim-friendly tourism destination. Alif Amshah, CNA, Kota Baru.